So as a preface to this video, Zen Coaching asked for this video to be reviewed by me and Nemesis. And then as another preface, we are probably going to say things that might be, seemingly negative or something about the things that are being said or other things that were possible or whatnot. Last time I tried doing an EDU React content video with Nemesis. The video went up on YouTube. The comment section was a Amy's Baking Company version of Kitchen Nightmares, where it was just really, really, really toxic. The dislike to like ratio on the video was just a complete cesspool. And yeah, anyways, we're just going to get into this one and hope that people are more civilized and listen to the intro. Anyways, all right, let's go.
My own mistake that I probably recognize.
Yeah. I mean, we can just run it. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Coaching is just coaching with ex-professional players or pro players or stuff like this. It's mostly discussion, right?
Okay.
Then it is actually me just berating you with information because I mean you know most of this stuff, right?
Disagree. Most pro players don't know a lot. I don't know your thoughts here, but
I agree.
don't know
Most
anything.
pro players don't know a lot.
Yeah.
It's just a discussion about the game more than it is anything. So I mean, this is all. Let's just go past all of this stuff. There's no way this is gonna.
He's not wrong though that it generally is a discussion because it's about defining guidelines and then paths, determining like how they're gonna practice and stuff. Generally, it is a discussion because there's a limited range of things that you can do in one game unless the player's like really messing up.
Work, right? Oh my god.
Boom.
Okay. All right. Oh, that happened. Okay, now yeah, that's really bad for us. Okay, so we dropped the ward. Okay, yeah. So I mean, you should just start Q level 1. Please tell me they stop fighting, right? Yeah, zoning him off the wave is really good. This is really good.
Yeah.
Yep, nice. This is all fine. You can auto the wave. Okay, hold on. Let me. Epic time.
Okay.
Where the fuck is epic time? Okay, do you see the stuff?
Yeah, I see.
I just want to point out something, by the way. It really annoys me. It really annoys me that he's not using a first-person view when mouse and camera control is one of the most important things for challenger players that most of them are really bad at. They're really bad. So not having a first-person view is really bad. What did you want to say?
I mean, first of all, I don't know who got the first blood, right? But like that can be a point of discussion. And second of all, why did he ward over the wall? What does that ward achieve?
Yeah, the ward doesn't. The ward doesn't do anything, which is kind of weird. Yes,
Yeah.
because his bot lane already sees it. You don't need a ward to make you feel good. That doesn't make any fucking sense. That ward's actually terrible.
Yes.
Because you have vision of their red side jungle, so why do you need this ward?
Kha'Zix will never gank.
Yeah, of course.
Angle.
Right, of course. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be better. This could be a lot better.
Fraggy, please update the title. Oh my god.
You see some of the micro errors?
No.
Small misplays and clicks. Small misplays and clicks. This is fine to do.
You can't see his clicks. What? Well, I mean, he can see the click movements, but like.
You see some of the micro errors?
No.
Small misplays and clicks. Small misplays and clicks. This is fine to do. This is absolutely fine.
Okay.
He's on cooldown. I think you saw him on cooldown. Alright, you can see
Yep.
when he uses a cooldown. You can walk here and you can auto like this because you have vision on the ball, right? You can give one more auto and then you can immediately back off and you go like this. And then what ends up happening is once you're here, your Q is going to be back up. And then what you do is you just position yourself in this state here, and then you just tell him no, he can't touch the wave, right? And then you have push priority on wave 1. So auto this is good, but this doesn't. It's not as optimal because it's.
I want you to practice something, by the way, because I know that you're not doing it yet, but you have to start doing it. I'm already doing it. You have to repeat in your head what he... So, okay, the reason I'm telling you this is because you probably think this guy's full of shit, right? That's probably just your immediate impression, and I know that's your immediate impression. You need to repeat what he says in your own head and believe it for a second in order to actually properly analyze it. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, it's just like it's a thing. Like, people are very dismissive of someone if they don't like the person or if they think that the person's lying or that they're full of shit. They're generally very dismissive, and regardless of the accuracy with what the person's saying, they might just outright dismiss it. So one of the things that you have to get into the
Okay.
habit of is, even when you dislike the person, repeat their words in your head and then try to believe it as if it was true and then analyze it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you might not. Yeah,
No, I
it's a
understand that
learned
point
thing. It's a
completely.
learn. Yeah.
Yes.
It's very hard. Yeah.
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 Vel'Koz, there's no reason to actually click here. Just keep autoing. If you just keep autoing, this is really good for you. As long as you can take out one blue minion, then there is a +1 red side advantage, and that's really good for you. Then you can just consistently work on trying to attack Vel'Koz's resources. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you disagree with any of that? Because here, just auto. Like, this click doesn't achieve anything. This minion isn't going to die immediately to any of the minions. You could easily auto this 1 times, 2 times, and Vel'Koz just use Q. Once you've auto this minion, what ends up happening is you actually already press forward to auto, and then you're already inside of this angle. Once you're in this angle, then all you do is you move up like this, and then you just tell him, fuck you. No, you can't do anything. Then you walk here, and you threaten Q. He's now forced on the top side of the map, which is really good for you, and then let's say, for example, that he opts to try to auto you for whatever reason. Even if you auto him back, you trade... let's say 10% HP for 10% HP, it still benefits you. Even if it's 15% HP on your end, because you have the 3 casters hitting you, because what you do then is you just pull the wave up, and then these 3 casters move up like this, and then you can play the lane inside of this really defensive pocket down to the south side. Any disagreements?
No, but I have one concern. I mean, if playing on the side, wouldn't that expose me more to like Vel'Koz poke?
No,
Or that wouldn't matter
Vel'Koz is on
much?
Vel'Koz is on cooldown.
I mean, if I'm Vel'Koz and this is my sequence, Ori move in, me move up. Let me use a different color. If I'm Vel'Koz and Ori moves in, I move up, and then I have buffer because I have minions. I mean, I think she's an idiot if she tries to trade with me.
I have a hard time following what he's saying because for me it's just tons of information, but it doesn't do anything. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it's wrong. I think what he's saying here about Ori is wrong. I'm happy with that sequence playing out as Vel'Koz. Just because I move up, I mean, I'm not unhappy. Like, what? I have buffer and you don't. What?
Like he's saying that the way she's clicking is wrong, but I feel like he consistently missed the marks where she clicks because he draws the line like not where she clicks.
Yeah, you have to draw the line on her face because her face tells you where she clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right?
Okay, so you're talking. Okay, when he's on cooldown. Okay.
When he's on cooldown, yes, we don't want to just like now as we're talking, he's on cooldown. There's no spell up, right? But once he's off of cooldown and when the wave is pulled up, that's when you take defensive pockets against him. But that's fine for you to do because then the thing is, it's a lot easier to take defensive pockets around him if these minions are pulled up.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any disagreements about any of that?
No. I just thought that since I was playing against Vel'Koz, I had mainly I had to position myself behind the minions. That way he wouldn't hit me with the Q.
You can. You do. But I'm telling you to do it afterwards, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, afterwards.
So how does he want to pull the minions up? Is there like some magic trick that I don't understand?
I mean, the other thing for me is getting a lane position against Vel'Koz is less important than getting these 3 minions out of the way. Because he's already behind on Vel'Koz. It doesn't make sense what he's saying.
Yes,
These minions need to die.
early HP doesn't do much in this lane.
Yeah,
Early
yes.
level 1.
Yeah,
It's all
so
about wave state.
he's trying to talk about wave state, and he's trying to talk about positioning against Vel'Koz, but he's never once mentioned getting these minions dead immediately.
Yes.
I don't know.
Because right now you can do whatever you want. You have absolutely free reign to just tell him, there's nothing you can do to me in the remainder of this lane. This click doesn't achieve anything.
Twitch chat saying he did. He said it's the first thing, or he said it's the first thing in the lane is layering the minions. Right. He said to auto the melee more. But then he said to move into Vel'Koz and then play pockets and all this other stuff. But it should be the utmost priority to not mention any of that and just prioritize the minions.
I agree.
No, you don't do both simultaneously, because as Orianna, you don't ever move into them. You just move back and only prioritize the minions. There's no reason to move in because you have no buffer. Anyways.
Just auto. Just auto Q.
Okay.
He should be hit. This is so weird. You should just auto Q. If you just hit him with Q, you end up thinning this minion out. You end up autoing this. You end up hitting him as well. Or you can auto him. I mean, whatever, right? You can even auto him. Absolutely fine to do that. You can play resource management against him, right? So you can give up your HP for all his mana. It's not like he can do anything. But it doesn't make sense as to why we're so we're behind in tempo inside of mid lane while we had first response and first action inside of mid lane while simultaneously retaining an HP advantage against him. Now, what I'm assuming is, are you nervous against Froggen?
No, I think I wasn't nervous.
You're not okay.
No.
Right, but you see that these micro movements are gonna hold you back, right?
Yeah. I think I was playing way too passive. Like level
It's
1.
way too passive. It's way too passive. You should just be destroying this guy, right? It's way too passive early on, and so you know this isn't good, right? This Q is have you seen Dopa?
What? What?
This Q is
What's wrong with the Q?
He has to do it.
Wait, the Q makes the lane winning because
So-
Froggen's messed up. What?
you know this
What?
isn't good, right? This Q is have you seen Dopa?
Yeah.
You've seen Dopa. Dopa doesn't do that.
Okay. So he just doesn't do that?
Dopa doesn't manipulate the wave like this.
Okay, I mean, that's okay. That's not good. That's not good.
This is really bad. Okay, so if you are gonna click back, either you should have done that or you should have spaced these minions HP to a degree.
He should have. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure here you can just queue the back lane. He didn't even mention it. So when he comes back, like, no, it's
You've put yourself on
Yeah.
cooldown. Your cooldown is now 6 seconds. This wave pulls up, and now Froggen has tempo to attack this wave. Meaning that if you do something like this and you end up blowing all your spells, on the second wave, Froggen gets level 2. If Froggen gets level 2, then what ends up happening is, depending on the type of the jungler, you know, your versus, or how the jungler ends up routing against you, he can get certain bounce backs that shouldn't benefit you, that shouldn't actually happen, relative to first response and first action in lane. Okay? We're losing tempo. We're losing the push out on a player who shouldn't be getting the push out on us. It's like this, especially when he has Q start, right? If you had the W start, sure. Maybe we don't respond because W is obnoxious, right? But with Q, we can respond. But this should be an auto. You should have autoed this once, actually autoed this twice, and then immediately queued right through here.
Yeah, probably got 2 autos. Yeah.
Yeah. The downside is positioning to queue the whole minion is kind of awkward now because I don't think that Oriana's range is. There's no way that Oriana's range is that long.
No.
But regardless, it can be set a lot cleaner had you done the previous maneuver. Okay. You have any questions?
Oh, sorry, the mic cut off a little
Yeah.
bit.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions? How do I make it so it's only you? How can I? Why do I see Kazakhs? Oh, it's because he's on a ward. Okay.
Yeah,
Go on.
he wasn't aware.
Yeah, go on.
No, for now, I wanna keep going on the lane phase.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
you can point out
Yeah. I mean,
Straight
Q is back up. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? What are you doing?
Is he doing something wrong?
What?
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Why are you not
The
telling
one
him?
thing-
He should just auto this minion and then wait for these projectiles and then Q. Because the second wave's already here, these 3 advance forward, they're buffer. I mean, Vel'Koz can't Q here. I mean, he's playing right, what? Vel'Koz
I
can't
don't
Q,
know.
he can't do this, he can't do this, he can't do this. Supposed to stay here, wait for projectiles, hit this minion. He's supposed to auto this minion and then Q it. Second wave's right here, bounce collides here, buffer here, take the 2, crash 2, pull 3, because control mirror and Vel'Koz fell behind early. What?
Why are you not telling him this is not your lane?
Yeah, I feel like I should have more lane dominance, but
You should. He's on cooldown. You have
Yeah.
Q up. You have the 2 minions that you can take. You're actually winning the lane right now because of the HP of these 3 casters. You can just stand here and tell him, hey, you can't play this lane. Force him down here. Make him play back.
Doesn't
Just stand.
do anything.
Doesn't achieve anything.
Doesn't achieve anything. Vel'Koz moves back, none of these minions die. You're achieving nothing. It's a non-sequence. Tell him to auto this minion. What are you doing? Tell him to auto this minion. Stop moving in for no fucking reason. What? Just, the lane is, it's the Korean word I love to say. I'll just swap slow. There's nothing Orianna can do because it's a surety what's going to happen with the minions. So she should just play to the minions. She should play to the thing Vel'Koz can't control. If she tries to move in at him on either angle, it's a non-factor because there's no minions that are low enough. If this minion was really low on HP, something like this matters. If Orianna had way more HP or way more mana or like way more ability to threaten damage or something like that, and Vel'Koz can blunder a spacing or something, sure. But all that's going to happen is Orianna's just going to take a Q to the face and none of the other sequences are going to change. You got anything to add? Or I just go?
I mean, yeah, I just.
And right here,
what
and then,
you said.
control 4.
okay.
Or whatever your emote's at, It's different for every player. But yeah, anyways, I mean, this is just strange. Again, these clicks don't make any sense. You could have autoed this twice, and then you could have queued the whole thing.
And now we said it.
Right, now
Yeah,
you're
my
on.
wave would be all the way down there. Yeah.
Yeah, the downside is that the next wave is going to come and you're not going to have 2W, but you will, because it's only 6 seconds. Right? So that's
You
like
don't
the
go
only
W level 2.
counter-argument you can make
You go E.
about that. Auto. Yeah, this is fine to do. Here you should just chase him. You should just move in. You should just go. You don't care about HP. You don't care about your damage. Just go and Q, auto, and then force Froggen back here. This guy should be like this much HP. He's on cooldown. He shouldn't be allowed to play the lane, ever.
No.
He should never be allowed to play the lane. He should mix XP on this minion, most likely, and this minion he shouldn't be able to get either. If you just walk down
But-
like this.
That's so wrong, by the way. You lose trade if you do that. Froggen legit wins that.
Auto.
Because
Yeah,
of
this
minion
is
aggro.
fine to
It
do.
makes no sense.
And you're wasting time.
You're never
here
gonna
you should
achieve
just-
level 2.
Because if
You
he
lose the
You
chase.
should chase him. You should just move
if he autos, then it stops the min. Yeah, of course.
in. You should just go.
Makes no
You don't
sense.
care about HP. You don't care about your damage.
Right, and neither does
Just go
Froggen.
and Q, auto, and then force Froggen back here. This guy should be like this much HP. He's on cooldown. He shouldn't be allowed to play the lane, ever. He should never be allowed to play the lane. He should mix XP on this minion, most likely, and this minion he shouldn't be able to get either. If you just walk down like this. Q, auto, force him back here. Tell him no. And then just get level 2. Once you're level 2, stand.
Correct play is move in here, try to get auto, try to Q, and then pull right. Stay in the middle.
Yep.
That way you don't draw minion aggro. If you do, you just pull the minions further into yours. You're still inside of your minions, and now he's between a rock and a hard place. He loses a little bit of resource.
Stand right over here. And stand here is because Kha'Zix can't be here on the right side, because Kha'Zix started on the right-hand side, meaning Kha'Zix is left side. Worst case scenario, you have a ward, so you obviously just see him. So there's no way that you should ever get ganked. So then you just stand here, and you're just happy. And then Froggen can't touch the wave.
You know what? You know why also was I remember now, like why I was playing so conservative is because I had no TP, and usually when I have TP, I just like to pretty much trade.
Right. Yes, you do.
And
You do.
Wow! I just realized that. Froggen doesn't have TP! Oh my god! Could have just skull crushed him. Oh, and he's not even playing to do that though.
Yes, and that's
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
And then TP, but
But that's a feeling. That's not fact, right?
okay,
You feel safer. You feel like you can expend resources because you have this get out of jail free card. But
Yep.
when you have you played against Faker or doing B or anybody on stage ever? I don't know how the land.
No, no, no.
Okay. Who's the best player you've played against in lane?
Who's the best player I play against in lane? Niski probably. That guy's a beast.
Jesus. Okay.
Niski. Or you talking in stage?
On stage, have you played against any like
stage?
top X? Like, have you played against any like Chinese or Korean mid laner?
No, no, no.
Okay.
No, I only play against slam people like Seiya, I will say.
Right, right. You're going to get absolutely demolished against really, really, really good mid laners.
That's not true.
Confidence.
That's not true.
That are like I'm talking like top Korean pro players.
It's not true. A lot of top Korean pro players aren't very good at laning. They play really, really safe and they handshake a lot. They're not necessarily good at laning. It's really weird that statement would ever be made. Because laning is actually where they're pretty weak at and where they're really abusable, which is why there's not a lot of standouts in the LCK. If you guys ever notice, middle of the pack to bottom of the pack in LCK is almost always the same. And the players who are always on top are usually exceptional at getting micro edges. Chovy, Showmaker, Khan back in the day, right? Players that are actually like, they seem like they're playing lane, but the majority of them don't really play lane. They play handshake. It's a really big point of weakness that I know that when I was casting LCK for 2 years, used to always talk about, and it's been one of my main gripes. But also, the notion that high MMR Korean solo queue players play lane well is also not true. Generally, what they'll do is they'll play very abusively relative to solo queue. It's really weird. I don't know. I mean, he's right, like, Faker would beat him, but it's just such a weird comment to make. It's just so, I don't know. Anyway, you have anything to add?
Yeah, the comment is forced and weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? You will get demolished because it's these micro aspects in their gameplay that decipher them from average pro player to like a superstar pro player. Right?
Okay.
Froggen, I'm just letting you know that if you can refine these things, that you will get a lot better as a player. Right? And so, because you haven't played against anyone who's super, super insane at these micro movements, that you're going to continue to struggle. It's like, it's what's a good example? It's like chess. You play chess?
No.
Okay. Oh, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to play chess for this analogy. It's like when you play chess with like your, or it's like what sport do you play? Do you play any sports, or have you played any sports in the past?
I played soccer before.
Okay, perfect. Let's say you're playing soccer. Okay. So you're playing football, and you're playing with your like there's a difference with you competing against your average Sunday league versus when you end up going into a semi-professional or a professional pitch. There's a big difference, right?
Yeah.
And so for the player there could be two different players. One player could be consistently competing against professionals, and the other person could be competing against amateurs in a Sunday league. Both of them could be the same skill level, but the one that's competing at the higher, better players is getting punished more, therefore learning more. And the second person who's competing in their Sunday league is going to consistently have issues growing as a player. You see what I'm saying?
I'm just going to pause, by the way, because Twitch chat. I just want to point out, by the way, Twitch chat. This guy has more experience coaching high MMR players and actually coaching laning phase and the game than almost anyone you see in teams. So let me get an image that might help you understand what I'm referencing. You know this? You know this? Yeah. Yeah. We're here. Okay? Now, I've always said that I think he's very useful for low MMR and mid MMR players, because at least he gets you thinking about these types of things, regardless of the accuracy of them, right? He opens you up to concepts about, like, playing with lots of variables and other stuff. I mean, we're gonna get through more of the video, right? But all that I'm trying to talk about right now is that people don't realize that no one has public content, okay? And this has been a major, like, what is it called? What is it when you're on a boat? Flare, right? It's a major, like, I've been trying to, like, flare signal that this is a thing. There's no content for most people that you can't go and see, you know? And I think that's interesting because of the amount of credit or lack of credit, it goes both ways, that some people in the scene can end up getting. So all I'm trying to say is that this person has been around for years. This person has tons of content with players of all different MMR ranges. That is a lot more than almost 99.9999999% of people can say for coaching. Vygar V2 does have public content. A year and a half ago, when me and Max opened up the public Discord and we wanted to have endorsed coaches, we went through over 100 plus people. The only person, and this is when Vygar V2 was still unknown, the only person that we actually selected that could actually be an endorsed coach was actually Vygar V2. This was prior to him becoming known. I don't think that's a coincidence. He then went on to join Fnatic, removed from Fnatic, went on to join TSM, left TSM, went on to join Cloud9. The only other person is Max. Max lived with me for 2.5 years. Max was a challenger NA player that came to Korea and was stuck in D3, D4. And then Max eventually started coaching and coaching lots of high MMR players and doing duo coaching stuff with me and lots of other stuff. And then he grinded coaching and lots of other stuff. And then Max partook in coaching with Korean players and laning against Korean players and multi-accounting. Not multi-accounting. Like, he would play every lane and all this other stuff that I think is really important. Anyways, all right, you ready to resume?
Your mic cut off at the end.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, what I'm saying is a Sunday League player is going to have issues growing because he's still versus Sunday League players, is what I'm trying to say, right? So refinement of these things is really, really important. Anyways, so we went off on a bit of a tangent, so my bad there, but you just walk up and you auto him, and then you just chase him down, okay? Okay, any questions? Like, this could have been auto. I don't know if you get minion block there, so maybe I'm wrong.
No, so...
Yeah.
So, okay, so... Yeah, I have a question in mind. So it's like, I have to have a plan for every movement that I'm making, or like every little decision that I'm doing?
Because it matters,
Yeah, I know it matters a lot, especially if, like, I know when I play against Oriana that I have to play on her cooldowns. Like, let's say she uses a ball, that's my window to actually do stuff to her. Say, okay.
Well, so I'll give you an example. I'll actually give you an example. Froggen's on cooldown right now, right? Walk here, and if you give him a Q, and you give him an auto down, what ends up happening is now you have influence on the wave. You can now stack this wave, incoming with the next third wave. If you stack wave 2 and 3, you can crash 2 and 3, and then you can just recall off that. If you end up recalling off that, 4 and 5 return into you over here in this state of the lane, and then you have, like, you can go Amp Tome, right? You can go Amp Tome, you can go Dark Seal, you can go fucking Cull, you know, if you're really feeling it. You know what I mean? You can do a lot of things at that point, right? If you just have such a good lane state, and then Froggen can't actually do anything, right? And then once wave 4 and 5 is here, then you just level the wave against him, right? You just play mono for mono, and you try to make you try to get lane states where you can continue to play inside of this sweet spot that allows Lilia to consistently try to pressure. You know, why did Froggen go cleanse, by the way? Oh, it's because Lilia. Against you, yeah. Okay. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So you do have to have a plan for every little thing, and this is
What?
I think this is not possible what he's saying because it can resist cheater
Yeah.
with 2 points to
Yeah.
W. Crashes the wave, last hits all the waves with autos and only Q. Then the next wave comes, double W's it, and he has minion damage. You can't pull 4-5. It's wrong.
I wasn't even going to suggest cheater because of the dynamic of the matchup. But also, he doesn't have... it's weird.
This whole situation transpires with you just actually walking properly.
There's a few champions in the game you guys can't cheater. Yasuo is one of them. Alawi is one of them. Yone is one of them.
Zed is one of them.
Zed's... No, you can do it to Zed. I've done it to Zed.
I don't know. Never works for me.
Actually,
Aurelia is,
to
for
be fair,
example, one.
the only time I do it to Zed is as a Lowy, and you know how broken her wave clear is.
Yeah.
So maybe
Aurelia.
yeah,
can do it versus her.
you can't do it to Aurelia. Gnosis can resist it. We tested that on stream.
Yep.
Tristana can't be cheated against. Garen can't be
Yeah.
cheated against. No, Renekton can be cheated against. Talon can if he messes up. No, Set can. He's too slow. There's a couple of champs, yeah. So anyways, TLDR, there's some champions that you can't reliably cheat her against unless they really play wrong. Yeah, Malzahar you can't cheat her against. Yeah, Malzahar you can't. Alright, let's go.
Inside of the lane, right? Anyway, so yeah, this is all really weird, and now it's a little bit odd. I don't entirely know what your plan is for the lane. I think you should just be autoing this one, yeah, and then this Q is actually not very good. I think this Q is pretty bad. And the reason this Q is bad is because Froggen has no minions to actually last hit. So meaning Froggen's attention is
Wait, what?
in this Q. I think you should just be autoing this one, yeah, and then this Q is actually not very good. I think this Q is pretty bad.
Wait, isn't this Q about to just collide into Vel'Koz?
I think not. I mean, just play the clip and see. But I think
I mean, he
not.
paused it. It's fucking weird.
So meaning Froggen's attention is obviously going to be clicking back as he sees the projectile coming out. But if you just wait for this minion to get low,
What?
which it will eventually,
He can't dodge it.
and then you throw out the Q, it's absolutely fine to do.
I
You
think
should be
he
doing
can.
that instead, because now this will miss. If
In
you
this
miss, then
case.
it's not effective.
No, you tell the ball to go here.
No. The way he casted it, he did it way too early. I think he can dodge it.
Really?
Yeah. I think the problem with what he's saying is that Froggen, that he shouldn't queue because Froggen has no minions to last hits. That's technically not true. He shouldn't queue because he should hold it. So when Froggen gets in range, so he gets double Q off. I
Yeah,
think in
that-
this case the Q misses.
Right, which is what he's talking about.
Yeah, but then why is it about minion not being low?
should-
I think that has nothing to do with it.
This is one of those weird things. I really don't think the Q can be dodged.
I think it does get dodged.
Am I thinking Vel'Koz is a little bit thicker than he is? Am I...
No, I think he already like casted like I don't know.
Wait. Let me see when
I
he...
don't know.
Let me see when he casts it. Wait.
Should just be
Yeah,
autoing this
right
one.
now it will not hit. Right now it will hit only if
He's locked in.
Vel'Koz
He's
has-
locked in motion. Yeah, he has to
Yeah, but
turn.
he can cancel it. He can cancel it. I think
No, I think by the time this
it's close. It's close. Like I don't know. I think W will hit. I'm not sure if Q will hit.
I think if you dance it, or you wiggle it to when he clicks in, and then you immediately Q, it hits. As long as the ball isn't awaiting your command. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's
All right. Yeah. Anyway,
This Q
it's
is
super. Yeah.
actually not
hard.
very good. I think this Q is pretty bad.
Yeah. Fudge said it hits 2-1. Get fucked, loser.
And the reason this Q is bad is because Froggen has no minions to actually last hit. So meaning Froggen's attention is obviously going to be clicking back as he sees the projectile coming out. But if you just wait for this minion to get low, which it will eventually, then you throw out the Q, it's absolutely fine to do that. You should be doing that instead, because now this will miss. If you miss, then it's not effective. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Try to find
Right.
Dopa and look at a trade that Dopa does where he does something like this.
That's really bad. That is.
Of course it's bad.
That's really bad to say. It's really
Suggestion-
bad.
Yeah, suggesting what one other player does in a scenario that's completely different than this one.
Yes. Rather than teaching how to think to juggle all the variables happening in real time and then come up with answers in real time. That is a awful suggestion.
Yes, because the person won't learn why.
You
that
won't
happens.
find one that easily. If you do, it's a misplay. And if you do it against a really good mid laner, he'll most likely just dodge it, right? But if this minion goes low, Froggen has to attack, you just go. And then, everyone's happy. You don't even have to really shove this wave. I think you can just keep the wave in the center, right? Because if you do want to look to recall on wave 3, if you have a tempo advantage, then you want to keep the wave in the center so the wave doesn't end up crashing on this tower.
I think that was my goal for that laning phase.
Show us the
I had in
Q!
mind that laning phase will most likely go even, but it shouldn't be that way.
No, it shouldn't be that way.
Cause
It shouldn't be this way.
yeah.
Yeah. You should win. And you see it now, right? You see as you play it, you see as you analyze it that you should actually just win the game against him.
Mhm.
He's a pro player, right? You're playing against a pro player. I mean, he's not some random person. I mean, so you can do these things if you just, consistently are
10 gifted subs.
But I mean, he didn't turn fast enough, no?
But the ball didn't go to where I told him to send it, and it still hit. Alright, okay. No, it's fine. I'm just memeing. Alright, let's go.
By the way,
very
pause.
like,
Why is he saying that? Why is he saying that Vegas is a losing matchup versus Ori?
Maybe because he saw you play it at Worlds.
Yes.
There it is.
I think it's easier for Rihanna to play. I don't think it's a winning matchup.
I just squeeze that one in. The other thing that's really weird is he's belittling the idea of a pro player, right? Because right now he's saying that he's a pro player so you can do these things, right? As if to suggest he can get away with honest gameplay because the person's a pro. Or at least that's my interpretation of it, right? But it's also kind of weird because just a few minutes ago he's saying that pro players are like glorified. So I think that's really, you're sending different messages. Did he just say the opposite? Wait, let me listen again. Wait.
now, right? You see as you play it, you see as you analyze it that you should actually just win the game against him.
Mhm.
He's a pro player, right? You're playing against a pro player. I mean, he's not some random person. I mean, so you can do these things if you just, consistently are
He sends two messages with the same sentence. One is that you're playing against a pro player, not a random person. But then in the same hand, he's saying that you can get away with these things. What? What is going on?
Yep.
That's such a weird sentence. Yeah, he's encouraging him, but just I don't know, man. I don't interpret it as encouragement.
very nitty gritty with your mechanics. Anyways, yeah. So he's off of cooldown. He just queued. Yep, great. Now you can walk back in. You don't have to queue like this. You can just auto. You can just stand here. You can stand here and auto, walk up, and then you can lock the third wave with the second wave somewhere around here. And then what you do is you want to now decide. Then you have a very important decision. So obviously, let's just recap this real quick.
What?
Auto. We could have gotten this minion from an auto. You auto this. You have Q available. Frog is on cooldown. You walk up to Froggen. Froggen backs up. You then auto this minion slowly. This wave ends up locking here, and then you have a very important decision. What do I do inside of the jungle? What is Kha'Zix's routes? What is happening in top lane? What is going on inside of the game? Right? If we look at top lane, we see that Gragas is in a state where it's not so bad for him, right? Because again, where are the minions? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 blues around versus how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rights. But the proximity is in a state where I think that the wave should just come into Gragas because of the HP of the blue minions versus the red minions. And so if you know that the wave state up in top lane is relatively fine, then we can assume that Kha'Zix will just end up doing a full clear and then most likely won't invade, because if he did, he would have done it by now, onto Lilia's left side jungle, unless he tries to invade this, but that's really stupid considering your priority. And then you can just, you can ask yourself what to do, right? If Lilia is invading, then you can crash the wave, obviously, and if Froggen is not this low, then I think you can even...
Okay, so I find this part really weird, because chat's reacting really negatively, but technically, what he just said is all correct, and he defined the reasonings for it. He pointed out the minion discrepancy, and why it would be illogical for Kha'Zix to go top lane. And then he broke down the nitty-gritty of why it's illogical, and why Kha'Zix should probably full clear, relative to mid lane state, and how it's illogical for Kha'Zix to try to go for an invade, especially when Gragas can move first. So, but it's weird, because chat was flaming him. This is what I'm talking about, with discernibility. So, this is the thing that I said to Nemesis early on. Even if you're dismissive of the guy, or you don't like him, you have to repeat what he's actually saying and believe it for a second, and then analyze it to determine whether or not it might actually be true. This is a really, really, really hard thing to do. I've had to do it a lot the last few years when I engage with certain individuals. Because you have to think like them to try to see what they're seeing, regardless of its accuracy. And then, you know. Anyways, do you want to just move on? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a state where I think that the wave should just come into Gragas because of the HP of the blue minions versus the red minions. And so if you know that the wave state up in top lane is relatively fine, then we can assume that Kha'Zix will just end up doing a full clear and then most likely won't invade, because if he did, he would have done it by now, onto Lilia's left side jungle, unless he tries to invade this, but that's really stupid considering your priority. And then you can just, you can ask yourself what to do, right? If Lilia is invading, then you can crash the wave, obviously, and if Froggen is not this low, then I think you could even look for a crash on this wave and probably even just reset maybe. But anyways, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're just evaluating. So what I'm telling you to do is I'm telling you to evaluate the state up in top lane, Kha'Zix's routes, and what Lilia wants to do inside of the game.
That's all fine.
So and if there's like nothing to do on my side lanes and like pretty much like if there's nothing to do in the jungle, would it be better for me to just like look to cross the next wave and then look for a recall and get that little advantage, or no?
Well, yeah. You can crash this and recall. You can just use all your.
That question suggests that he doesn't get it. Which, if you're a challenger player, this question's scary. Or if you're coaching the challenger, that's a scary question to engage with. Because the person's asking for a black and white answer when you're trying to teach them gray. Because gray is the most skilled aspect of the game. Because gray is ultimately the interpretation of various lane states, variables, position in lane, HP, mana, etc., right? And it spits out a black and white answer. But the problem is that he's ignoring all of the gray and just asking for a black and white answer based on very surface level variables. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I agree with you.
Okay. I don't have PayPal on my new phone yet.
Your mana to crash this and recall. If you're running DMAT, it's even better. Right? If you're running Materializer, you can crash this wave and then you can just reset after this. And then the thing that I don't like about this, the one thing that I dislike about this is is that you don't have any reasoning to ever be topside to defend it or to fake roam to a counter. Because one thing you can do that's very subtle that a lot of players don't do is you can fake roam up here. And then if you fake roam and Kha'Zix and Froggen pings up, and this lane is in a weird spot, this actually incentivizes Kha'Zix to be a bit more cautious, because it is going to be a numbers advantage for you at that point, because he knows that Lilia is also left side of the map. Okay? So because enemy Kha'Zix knows that it's 2v2 top lane.
Tell him the correct play, because you haven't said it. What?
And we know that mid has priority, and Lilia is obviously top lane as well. He knows it's 2v2. But you fake roaming actually helps Gragas possibly crash the wave, or gives time for Lilia.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
Yeah, you
And get that little advantage.
Holy shit. We know Kha'Zix is over here. We know Kha'Zix is on wolves or he's on blue right now. What the fuck is that click? Absolutely not. We're going straight down to Pound Town. Is he gonna queue us when we're full fucking HP? With all of our fucking nourishments? No. He's an idiot if he does. He has to just focus on the minions. So he's just gonna back up as we move down. But because we move down, we can start going to Pound Town on the minions. Real nice and easy, right here. With a lot of buffer from our minions. Because we're playing right pocket, Kha'Zix can't fucking go out of his mind and be crazy and come on us from any of these angles. Because he's not doing it anyway, because of all the aforementioned reasons based on lane states that we just mentioned. Nor is he looking for any sort of an invade on Lilia. So we're just gonna click down. But he doesn't point any of this out. Instead, we're going into a tirade about doing some fake fucking roam. Why are we going on a fake roam against a teleportless mid laner who is bleeding out their behind on HP and mana when we are riding them? What? Just go down to the right!
Not just that, but I don't know what the point of fake roaming discussion is right now. It's just...
It only works against bad players!
Yes, and he's overloading him with information that's not, relevant.
It's not relevant.
Right
It's not relevant. Yes. Okay. I'm getting mad. Alright.
Or no?
well, Yeah. You can crash this and recall. You can just use all your mana to crash this and recall. If you're running DMAT, it's even better.
Nope.
Right? If you're running
Okay.
Materializer, you can crash this wave, and then you can just reset after this. And then the thing that I don't like about this, the one thing that I dislike about this is because is that you don't have any reasoning to ever.
He can attempt to crash it, but he can't recall. He can attempt to crash it, and that'll cause Vel'Koz to panic, and because of the threat of a recall, depending on speed and depending on what Vel'Koz does. But the reality is that the only reason that you crash it is because Vel'Koz is already so far behind. You've achieved what a cheater attempts to achieve, which is ultimately an economic advantage. Vel'Koz is really behind on HP, he's very behind on mana. So if you crash and then pull 4, pull 5, which normally you do post-cheater, you've already achieved the result that you're looking for, the desired result, because the enemy is so far behind on economy that you win out on 4, 5, 6 anyway. So ultimately, this kind of looks like a push 3 do nothing, but it's not a push 3 do nothing. Because he's already too far behind due to wave 1 and 2. You have any thoughts?
I agree.
Ever be topside to defend it
This is why he's teamless, by the way. He's agreeing with me right now. Fudge, you're next.
or to fake roam to a counter. Because one thing you can do that's very subtle that a lot of players don't do is you can fake roam up here. And then if you fake roam and Kha'Zix and Froggen pings up, and this lane is in a weird spot, this actually incentivizes Kha'Zix to be a bit more cautious because it is going to be a numbers advantage for you at that point because he knows that Lilia is also left side of the map. Okay? So because enemy Kha'Zix knows that it's 2v2 top lane, and we know that mid has priority, and Lilia is obviously top lane as well. He knows it's 2v2. But you fake roaming actually helps Gragas possibly crash the wave.
He just said Kha'Zix wouldn't go top because the lane state. And obviously Kha'Zix doesn't go top because of the lane state. So now why are we saying there's a 2v2 and that a fake roam would influence it?
Yep. And why is he saying Kha'Zix has to be cautious when in reality Kha'Zix is in no danger of dying to an Orianna and Lilia? Even if he does face check.
He's just full clearing! That's all he's doing!
Yeah. Of course. I mean, yeah.
Wave or gives time for Lilia to end up arriving for the counter attack, right? This is just something very subtle you can do. But here, I think that Froggen is so low that I don't think you have to recall. I think you can just continue to put him really, really behind the side of the game.
Got it.
Okay, I think you can just continue to funnel pressure down into Froggen. I don't think that there's ever a world where you need to recall. I mean, this is just strange to me. This doesn't make any sense. He's gonna go for this minion.
I should just auto, right? Just auto and then...
Yeah, just auto and then just hit him with Q again. Froggen can't touch this wave. He can't do anything.
Yeah.
His lockouts right now. Yeah, even if he has abilities up. He has W up, but it's not like his W is going to sustain anything. So your plan, you don't have a concise plan. You don't have a direct plan. You're not playing the lane. You're not playing the game as though you want to look for a recall on wave 3. You're not playing the game as though you want to consistently funnel down pressure into Froggen. You know, there's like a lot of things you can be doing in this game. If you're going to stay, then I'm assuming that we're just gonna play for Kha'Zix's Raptors. If you're gonna continue to push them. This is my assumption. If I see a mid laner doing this, I just assume that maybe Lilia would just look for Raptors. This is really bad. And the reason this is not very good is because it doesn't... I mean, what are you trying to do in the lane?
I mean, that's a pretty awkward situation. I was trying to crash it, to be honest.
Right. But you're trading into
yeah,
Froggen.
Yeah, I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, so if you want to crash the wave, then trading into Froggen is a waste of time. If Froggen is in comms, or if he's duoed with his jungler and his jungler's a pro player, and the lane state ends up blocking here, Kha'Zix can come down. After his routes on the left hand side, Kha'Zix can just come down and chunk you out. The only downside is that Kha'Zix will end up losing efficiency inside of his jungle because he'll be on the right hand side of the map with a very weird reset timer by the time that Lilia's back onto the right hand side of the map, which then opens opportunities for like you know, whatever. But in this case, it's a little strange to me because you're influencing the wave, but the wave has no, you know, you're also trading with him for no reason, right? So then what ends up happening is you don't hit him, you waste mana, and then you have the next wave, the fourth wave, again locked, and this is where it's danger zone, right? You have an entire dark left side. You can't really play like this. Sure, you can play on this ward, but like, why even do this? Why not just crash the wave, right? And this is weird again as well. I don't know why you just Q. When Froggen can get a permafreeze against you relative to the count on these minions, this Q doesn't make any sense. You should just give up all your HP and all of your mana to crush the wave. Or alternatively, you just stand inside of your wave in the middle and you let Froggen hit you. And then you end up giving your HP for wave state. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Okay, any questions?
Not so far, no. Okay.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, because I mean, I was.
Alright, what do you want to say on it?
That makes no sense. First of all, I don't know what the fuck is the discussion about Kha'Zix going to Milan and chunking him, blah 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 blah. It's irrelevant. He will never die to a gank, he will never burn a summoner, and he has 2 potions. So who the fuck cares? Second of all, Vel'Koz can never permafreeze Milan. It's actually not possible.
Okay. Yeah? Anything else before we hit play again?
No, that's it.
I was trying to do 2 different things at once, like poking and then play for wave, when I should be doing I should be focused on doing only one thing. And then he pretty much just show the lane and get the free bag, I believe.
Yeah.
Because he's very close.
Yeah, yeah. And next wave is absolutely fine. He's on timer. Next wave is actually this is the 5th wave. The 6th wave is a reset timer for Vel'Koz. You've missed your opportunity to kill him. Right? You've essentially missed your opportunity to solo kill Froggen, which you could have done possibly because he's running cleanse. And so now this is also really strange. Oh, actually, never mind. Yeah, sorry, he has to stay. I'm an idiot. This is the 5th wave. It's not the 6th wave. Froggen's just gonna crash this next incoming wave, and you should just do the same. This is like when 2 boxers are finished the fight and they go to the next round and they back off, right? You should just crash the wave as well. You should just crash the wave. You should do exactly what Froggen is doing. Or you just hunt him down. Or what you do is you know that Froggen needs to reset. You know that the wave is in a really nice spot for you, and you can actually let Froggen influence the wave and immediately jump him right after. Because if you jump him right after, he's forced to run away because you're going to solo kill him. And then on top of that, he can't influence the wave any further, meaning that if he ends up killing these minions any further, then a freeze can be further retained here. And if you're running teleport, the game is just over. The game is just over if you're running teleport. Then even if this guy opts to try to find a back, there's no way that Vel'Koz can return before you get to recall off and try to actually crash the incoming wave, because then you just play mind games with teleport. But here, because you should know that Frog.
I mean, what he's saying isn't true
exactly
either right now. Because he doesn't have teleport. I mean, whether he had teleport or not, it still doesn't change that the sequence that we're trying to achieve is making Vel'Koz lose all of his economy and then pulling the wave. But as played out, we're not ever actually looking to freeze. We're looking to make Vel'Koz, what's the word? Release? Maybe? We're making to look Vel'Koz like have to look at a wave and then just recall. You know what I'm talking about? Like when the lane's gonna reset almost, and you're like doomed without your jungler and you can't walk up. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Like that's what we're looking to achieve, not a freeze. Because then if he recalls, you can get a crash and then you get a recall, which should be what you're trying to do with or without teleport. You're just looking for a +6 with the pulled wave. You're always just looking for a +6 with the pulled wave. And if you can't get a +6 with the pulled wave from the lane state that we just had in front of his turret, you're really messing up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Oh, actually, never mind. Yeah, sorry, he has to stay. I'm an idiot. This is the 5th wave. It's not the 6th wave. Froggen's just gonna crash this next incoming wave, and you should just do the same. This is like when 2 boxers are finished the fight and they go to the next round and they back off, right? You should just crash the wave as well. You should just crash the wave. You should do exactly what Froggen is doing. Or you just hunt him down. Or what you do is you know that Froggen needs to reset. You know that the wave is in a really nice spot for you, and you can actually let Froggen influence the wave and immediately jump him right after. Because if you jump him right after, he's forced to run away because you're going to solo kill him. And then on top of that, he can't influence the wave any further, meaning that if he ends up killing these minions any further, then a freeze can be further retained here. And if you're running teleport, the game is just over. The game is just over if you're running teleport. Then even if this guy opts to try to find a back, there's no way that Vel'Koz can return before you get to recall off and try to actually. If Froggen has X mission, you not standing there obviously, only down. Because it's 3:30, you probably just finished Rift Herald, and Kha'Zix is most likely hovering, for Vel'Koz to crash the wave. And that's why you see Lilia moving in as well. And actually what you need to be doing is you need to be pinging Thresh to come in as well. Thresh comes in. This is obviously a 2 versus 2. It's very obvious this is a 2v2. If Froggen rolls his spells on the wave and he doesn't immediately move back, you know that Kha'Zix is obviously here, meaning you have no incentive to actually move up. And that's why Lilia hovers, but because you know that's the case, you should also just call in Thresh for 3v2. And if you guys end up doing a 3v2 here, you just win the game. You just end up winning the game.
Yeah.
You just win the game. There's no question about that. Froggen's lane is fucked. Thresh is having a great time. Thresh doesn't have to do anything. Aphelios has a freeze. No one gives a shit. Thresh is great. Aphelios is happy. Everyone is just happy. You know? Just happy. Thresh.
He pretty much just show the lane and get the free bag, I believe.
I'm like
Yeah.
90% sure
Yeah.
Lilia
next wave is
isn't
absolutely fine. He's
hovering.
on timer. Next wave is actually this is
She's just
to
doing
kill
scuttle.
which you could have done possibly because he's running cleanse. And so now this is also really strange. Oh, actually, never mind. Sorry, he has to stay. I'm an idiot. This is the 5th wave. It's not the 6th wave. Froggen's just gonna crash this next incoming wave, and you should just do the same. This is like when 2 boxers are finished the fight and they go to the next round and they back off, right? You should just crash the wave as well.
Oh no, she is.
You should just crash the wave. You should do
is.
exactly.
Never mind. She is. Okay.
Thresh.
I mean, it's incorrect for her to hover, though. I don't know.
It's incorrect for Thresh to go mid too, in my opinion.
I mean, Aphelios does have a freeze, but I mean,
So level 2 Thresh, that's slow.
yeah, it's level 2
Much
Thresh.
prefer
That's
get a reset.
right.
Because if he goes mid and doesn't achieve anything, then
If Vel'Koz and Kha'Zix play it right, Ori doesn't achieve anything. Yeah. Vel'Koz and Kha'Zix have autonomy.
That's why there's
Alright.
he's 500, 600, 700.
Because they
Professional scrim, recently scrim even in the on season. I think there should be. I know that there
Lilia
was
going to scuttle and then I don't know. It's weird. I mean, Lilia's pathing in general is a little weird.
You praying to God you're versus someone who can actually punish you, right?
Or like a bunch of autofill people.
Yeah. Solo queue should be a learning environment. Solo queue should actually be a sandbox for pro players. But it's not a sandbox when every other player isn't actually excelling, right? So in my opinion, I think that there should be a consistent in-house server. Or you do the Korea method, where you end up scrimming, and then at a certain time, everyone gets on and plays solo queue. Yeah? But I don't know, I'm not gonna get into that, but you know what I mean? Like, what I'm trying to say is that it's hard to improve in NA. It's fundamentally more difficult for you to improve in NA than it is for you to improve in other regions like Korea or like China or something.
The ways that this guy has to improve has nothing to do with region, though. So I don't get the point of bringing this up. Okay, yeah, you just stay silent. It's fine.
I mean, still, yes, I agree.
Yeah, because I mean, also you're constantly playing
For the
this map.
20th time.
This is just fucked. This is a slow push into Froggen now.
Oh.
See you. Holy. Yeah, if you were early to you can go flash for.
Oh, I just missed it. Sorry.
I don't know what your plan.
Constantly playing against good players.
Yeah. I would consider. I don't know what your plans are after college, but relative to how things work out, I think you should probably look to go to Korea for a little bit as well. See what you can do there.
No. Korea is I just had this conversation with another like amateur player. You do not come to Korea to boot camp if you're not intending to stay for at least a year. You don't come to Korea to boot camp if you're not going to stay for at least a year. You will not utilize... Huh? What?
I'm leaving. Okay,
oh, okay, yeah. Korea, just because the server's better, doesn't mean that it helps you get better. Because what ends up happening is you just adapt to the way that the Koreans play, but you're not actually learning what is going on. You might be learning in the moment. You'll go back and you'll be like sort of jacked up on steroids because you just came from playing against like way better players. But you will not have brought with you the knowledge of like what goes into the actions that you ended up making or like doing, right? So champions change, meta changes, you adapt to your own region's like play style in solo queue, its own tendency and stuff, and it's not helping you. If the ping difference is there, then like that's another issue that you could have. Most people, and it's why I really heavily advise against Korean boot camps, very, very, very poorly utilize it. Teams that come for Korean boot camps, it's generally a joke. I think generally, and I used to not hold this opinion, but I think now I do. It's generally a waste of time. You don't have, the only positive of the boot camp is that you're all picked up and dropped into an alien country where you're forced to sort of like bond with each other. Like that's probably the most positive effect of like a Korean boot camp for a team. But the idea that just coming and playing on a server for 1 month or 2 months is going to help you, no, it's not. It's not going to help you. Not in any long-term way.
I agree.
Look, there I punished him, but I think it was way too late.
You can go flash for flash here. Not here, but like in general. You know, yeah, if you were early to the trade, you go flash for flash, because flash for flash benefits you. Holy shit, Thresh. I mean, this lane is fucked.
How does flash for flash benefit Orianna when Vel'Koz has more range? I'm asking you, by the way. I don't know. Maybe you can play devil's advocate here, but if I'm Orianna, I want flash, not the other way around. You know.
It's hard. It's hard. I don't know.
I mean, I think especially factoring the jungle matchups, it slightly favors blue team. Alright.
Yeah,
This
probably. Yeah.
This is a
I can agree. Yeah.
Oh no. Jesus Christ.
That was bad.
Yeah, this is bad now. Anyways.
Whether
The
that
whole scenario of me not having TP really threw me off.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of it is mental. You feel like you're more inclined to, be careful, right?
Yeah, and play safe. Yeah.
Play safe. Yeah, you don't need to when you have, an optimal situation inside of the lane. Anyways, I actually just want to talk about this. I think that going forward doesn't matter, because everything going forward into this lane is a byproduct of you making micro misplays from levels 1 to 4. If you can fix that, the situation would never happen. You would just kill him by now.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
Okay. Oh, you have Jin Duck on your team, or on the enemy team. Cool. Yeah. Anyways, do you have any? Okay. Any more questions
What?
for today? I know we're working long term.
No, and what happens if the opposite scenario, like let's say I'm Froggen and I'm playing against that Orianna?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how should I be playing the laning phase?
Well, I can't exactly show you because I don't have the replay.
Well, yeah.
But I can give you a general concept. Mid lane, when you're on the losing receiving of mid lane, it becomes recovery. So let's talk about this, right? If you win on wave A, if enemy wins on wave A, they win on wave C. Do you understand that?
What? This is not true. Some champions win level 1 and then lose level 2. And then because they lose level 2, they lose level 3!
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. If they win on A, they win on C. Meaning now they can end up getting a bounce back on D and E.
No! Some champions can't be cheated on! But also, the first point's not true!
And then this becomes a freeze. Okay?
Yep.
No, it doesn't!
Especially in mid lane, by the way. It's the hardest lane. to
It's
fix,
really
isn't it?
hard. But not only that, trying to teach black and white things rather than
This
gray.
is so
Black and white
Crazy.
is better utilized on a surface level for low MMR players because it helps them just nudge them in the right direction. For players of this MMR, you can't leave out the little details. But then, one of the things I like to start incorporating is lying to these players, which I didn't do until towards the end of my public coaching career, whatever you want to call it, because I don't coach anymore. But one of the things I started devising was actively lying to the client to see if they could tell that I was lying to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they can tell that I'm lying, then it means that they're actually juggling with the gray.
Yeah.
If they can't, then it doesn't matter what I'm saying anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is just.
This is really bad. This is. I mean, I think. Yeah. I mean, none of this is useful to this Orianna player, because if you ask the Orianna
But
to
also,
recite anything, he can't. You can just tell by how they're conversing.
Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't the way to help this Orianna player.
So now the way you win that is you now have to do now what actually ends up happening is now this is a reward. This is the reward for wave A. Because Orianna played X on wave A, wave C he won, and wave D he ended up reaping the rewards on there. Meaning now what you have to do is you have to find something known as the recovery. This is shit I'm making up, by the way. This is not a real term, but because the coaches in NA and just the professional coaches, I don't think that they're very good. I don't think that these terms have even been discussed or talked about. But we can. I'm just making this up again. It's not a real thing. I'm going to call this the recovery wave. The recovery wave could be wave D and E. And the reason the recovery wave could be wave D and E is because this is the same time when you can expel all your mana and all your resources and all of your HP to break the freeze and crash on D and E. Right? F then returns into you. Now you have to try to win on F, and then, whatever wave is after this, you can reap the rewards. So mid lane then becomes this conversation between two players, between what to do on X wave and then what happens on the Y wave.
Okay.
Right.
So
and then what ends up happening is now if you're losing.
Are you trying to talk, or is that him? What?
Yeah, me.
Go.
So let's just get this straight, okay? He asked, what does he need to do when he's the Vel'Koz? The coach is talking about fucking something completely different. Why? He's just loading him with information that I don't know how he's gonna use. And half of it is like complete BS.
These are tactics that are used in other fields, intentionally to disorient the person. You know what I mean? But I don't think he's intentionally doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't think we would be at this point where, like, you and I are being asked to go over the VOD if that were the case. But I do wonder if this is a, like, subconscious thing that he developed without realizing it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Then you have to try to recover, and you have to now you have to have your own sequence that benefits you. Right? And then if Orianna's forced to play on your sequence, you're winning mid-wave. But for the entirety of the lane, you had the ability to play against Froggen's. Froggen was forced to play inside of your sequence because of how level 1 played out, but you didn't play your own sequence correctly.
Yeah.
Okay?
So, yeah.
Great. That's all. It's literally it.
That was I like that laning phase was actually so free if I played it correctly. Now that I see it.
And stuff like this will continue to be replicant of your other matches as well, right? So this is like it's an ongoing process. Okay, man. Anyways, let's see all we want to talk about. Anything else is kind of pointless because the game is already.
I completely disagree. I'd like to see him play out a reset laning phase where, like now Vel'Koz is in the driver's seat because Vel'Koz is ahead from this freeze frame. So I wholeheartedly disagree. There is a lot to unpack in the next fucking 6 waves that I want to see
Yeah.
what he does. Because,
This was minute 15, maybe,
dude.
but like just early into the game to say that.
Oh, man.
It's
Well,
pointless to go forward.
holy shit. There's, like...
Especially because
he's so far behind Vel'Koz right now. He's so far behind Vel'Koz. There is so much to gain by watching the next, like, 6 waves. This was... I don't know. I don't know what I learned from this. I actually... not trying to be, like, disrespectful.
You?
But, yeah. Well, I
I
didn't
mean,
learn
you
anything.
haven't learned
I didn't learn
anything.
anything. Of course, I didn't learn anything. But if I was the person being coached, I also think I learned nothing. I was actually misled, which is worse than learning nothing.
Yeah, I think the only thing you could have maybe learned is that using Q at random times is bad, you know? Like maybe, like something basic as that. That's the only thing that comes to my mind.
I mean, he talked about some positive concepts that the person should be aware of, like looking at other lanes and then entertaining like the jungle stuff. Like that is as simple as it sounds. Players don't even do that, you know, like using F key to look at Gragas and stuff. Like,
yeah,
that is good. That part was good.
I mean, technically he didn't
but
mention F key, but
there was too much. There was way too much like other stuff that it felt like it was being come up with in the moment. Like remember the Lilia's hovering Thresh thing and whatever.
Yeah.
Like it just felt like things were being said to being said. How come a high-level player can't tell he's being misled? Because high-level players don't necessarily know a lot about the game. They're really good at executing a very small amount of things over and over way better than other people. And if you're just good enough at that, you can climb. But no, Zomarang, it has nothing to do with me not learning anything because I'm a coach. Because you're implying that coaches know the things that we were just talking about. This guy's a coach. This guy has more coaching experience under his belt than most people on professional gaming teams. He has more interaction with high MMR players than most people on pro gaming teams. Your comment doesn't make any sense. The reason I agreed to do this...
Logical.
The reason I agreed to do this is because, 1, he asked me. 2, he gave me permission to be open and honest with everything that I thought. But then 3, people don't realize what's going on with coaching. This is something I'm very passionate about. And I really, really don't like that people can hide behind not having any content. Because this is someone that has way more workload and way more stuff under their belt than most people. That's the sad reality of it.
And that can probably also hurt him.
It could hurt him, yeah. I agree, yeah. This guy is at least putting himself out there. And the thing is that I don't think that he means to do any negative. I've personally recommended this person to lower MMR players because even telling lower MMR players the general gist of basic things, like, it gets them thinking. Like, oh, yeah, like, oh, this is a thing that in theory is possible, right? So even though you don't have all the nitty-gritty variables, the nitty-gritty variables don't become important until you start getting to, like, really high MMR, where micro aspects become really important. So for low MMR players, a lot of the things that he'll talk about that are super surface level, they are pretty fine. But when you begin to, like, delve into, you know, Challenger v Challenger, Pro versus Pro, you know, Challenger versus Pro, etc., you're going to need a lot more. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't learn anything from the video. And I felt like the video had way more misleading information than it had positive information. I don't think this Orianna could so here's what I would do, right? So this Orianna, based on how he was talking with the coach and other stuff, this Oriana is the type of person I would lie to in order to actually see if he's following. And then I would ask way more questions. Like, you know, like I started doing this towards the end of my coaching career too. I started drawing a lot of circles, and then I would draw numbers on them, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then I would ask, like, what number is good, and why is it good? And then, you know, because this gets them actively thinking about defining their rules and defining their variables and why they exist the way that they do. Because that's what becomes more important the higher that you get up, is understanding something, not just knowing it. But all that this coaching is doing is trying to make the person know it, not understand it. So, it's not good. Or it's not useful to challengers. It's not useful to high MMR. Yeah, and low MMR you can get away with general things, because the details, like, there's so many mistakes happening so often that finer details don't really matter as much. Why don't I coach publicly anymore? Because it's a fucking ripoff. You don't need to pay me $120 or $125, whatever my rate is, to get told the same stuff that's on my YouTube. I have dozens and dozens and dozens of videos on my YouTube that are literally titled recommended, and they only go over the fundamentals. Fundamentals don't change. If you want to actually get good at laning, that Oriana Aurelia video is one of the best videos. There's a lot of videos on my channel that you should just be able to use. But also, I still do content with pro players, like casual coaching with Lemon, or like Fudge, or, well, I mean, we sort of troll Fudge, but yeah, I don't do, like, nitty-gritty stuff anymore. Also, this is just one game, but it's a very bizarre one game. It was ended at level 4, and then said that there was nothing else to do, but there was a lot of that. Dude, the best part was coming.
Yeah.
You know? The best part was actually coming,
cake,
which is,
the
yeah, the
best
cake.
bits.
The cake was actually on its way. It was seeing the next 6 waves when Oriana was behind. That was the cake. Okay, guys, I will see you all later. Also, thank you for 500,000 Twitch followers. Very, 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 very nice. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys all later, okay? Alright, bye!